All right. Welcome, welcome. If you are new here, I am so glad you came to join us. I hope you find this to be just a really good use of your time. If you've been here before, of course, welcome back. I love seeing familiar faces. And as I always say, Fridays are the open coachings are my favorite time of the week, just getting to talk to everybody and hear perspectives and whatnot. So I really appreciate everybody coming. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to comment, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more videos on legal technology talk. Um, and for those of you here, these videos will always be up on our YouTube. Just search Edinger Tech, no later than Mondays, if you want to go back and revisit today's session. So before we jump in, I want to take a second and I want you to think, how often do you wish a client felt more seen, more heard, or more cared for in the first few minutes after they reach out? I want you to keep that in mind as we go through the conversation today. So, today we're diving into mastering the client conversation with AI and automation. And we're just going to look into how law firms can leverage these tools to number one, enhance client follow up. Number two, keep prospects engaged. Number three, build trust with potential clients. And number four, improve the prospective client experience. The goal is simple. You always want to drive firm growth while fostering stronger, lasting client relationships. So, to really understand how AI and automation can improve client conversations, we first need to just take a look at the baseline that guides every single decision that your firm makes, whether it's to change something, eliminate something, or add something new to the process or an intake script, even. What is that baseline for decision making? Every law firm needs a foundation that keeps client experience front and center. This is the cornerstone of running a successful firm. Trust and relationships matter more than anything else. So if you ask yourself, how often do you make decisions focused on efficiency or saving time, only to realize later that it left a client feeling overlooked or a gap in your client communication process? Every decision, adopting new software, adjusting intake, automating follow up, should meet this standard. Number one, does it hurt the client experience? Number two, does it keep things the same? Or does it improve it? The answer should never be that it hurts the client experience. At a minimum, it should keep things consistent. Ideally, everything you do should enhance how clients and prospects feel about working with your firm. Now, AI and automation are just tools in your law firm. The key is how you guide them. They should strengthen every client relationship, not weaken it. It's not about replacing human interaction. It's about making sure the conversation never drops and that a client never feels ignored in those critical first minutes or hours, and even all the way through the process. So, if you think about this, when was the last time your firm implemented a new tool or process and it just left a client frustrated? That's exactly why we start here. This is why businesses do focus groups and different things when they implement something new in terms and conditions or on a new app or something like that. They will instantly know if they broke something with the customer because they are going to get feedback like crazy. So if you can take a look from the client's perspective when you're implementing something new and say, what effect will this have on my client relationship? You're going to avoid a lot of those situations. Now, before we dive into solutions and strategies, let's just take a moment to show you why this really matters. Sometimes the best lessons come from real world pressure and seeing what works when the stakes are high. And it's something we haven't told in a while, and some of you are new here, so you don't know our story of why we're where we're at now. So I'm going to tell you a little bit from our own experience. Both Beth and I worked at an estate planning law firm for years. Beth had just left a stressful management role and wanted something easier. So she accepted the simple position of funding coordinator with our firm, thinking she'd come in, do her job, and leave at 5. But as she started working with the clients, we realized her talents were far bigger than the role suggested. I was already at the firm as the client service coordinator and the growth partner coordinator. And then our attorney, Debbie, promoted Beth to director of operation within weeks of being hired. She also took on the role of drafting coordinator, implemented a database, and developed processes that improved efficiency and client communication. She couldn't hide her talents no matter how much she wanted to. But then one day, just a really, really bad situation happened. Debbie, the attorney, she was out of town and she was in a head on collision with a drunk driver. She suffered a really severe concussion, and it has never gone away to this day. She's learned to cope with it, but she couldn't process like she used to as an attorney. That same day, I was scheduled to teach my first workshop for potential clients as Debbie previously had taught them, and I was taking over that role, ironically, that same day. We panicked. How could we keep the firm running? Did we have the structure in place? No. We called our firm coach, Molly McGrath, who many of you know and hopefully love as much as we do, because we were in your shoes. If she's your coach, she was also our coach when we worked at the law firm. She told us, run the workshop, but cancel every other appointment for the week and let's regroup. During that time, we implemented processes and had enrolled a trusted local attorney temporarily to take over the role of reviewing and doing different meetings and whatnot. And not only did we survive, we thrived. Client communication improved, processes got cleaner, and the firm ran more efficiently, even without an effective attorney at that time. Um, and this was all before powerful automations and AI tools that we have today. When that tragedy hit, we instantly saw the cracks in our process that was affecting client communication, how they moved through the process. Excuse me. Um, and we didn't have the powerful automations or AI and all of that back then. But the takeaway here is simple. Strong processes and thoughtful communication can completely transform the client experience, even in high pressure moments. A really good example of that. We just revised how we did our initial meeting and the design meeting. And just tweaking that, we learned that clients weren't fully aware of what our maintenance program was, or they were confused by it. So we cleaned that up. And do you know that we tripled the number of maintenance client enrollments just with a simple tweak because they understood, they were getting communicated with, and then they felt engaged. So think about your own firm. How many clients might be slipping through the cracks simply because the right process or timely follow-up isn't
You're
in
good.
place?
Bunch of paperwork.
I'm going to hit mute on this.
So
real
you're
quick.
fine. We'll get it cleaned up.
Stuff I've had at home, so.
Let's see where that is. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Okay. Um, so if your team, though, has ever felt overwhelmed, I feel it all the time to this day, or you're unsure where to start, you can schedule a free discovery meeting with us. We'll show you how to implement automations and AI that can really empower your team to handle more clients better without replacing anyone. So your firm can grow while your people stay central to the client experience. And Beth, can you just put the discovery link in the chat? But that brings us right to the heart of today's session, mastering automation and AI in client conversations. So let's dig into this. Mastering client conversations isn't just about the first phone call or the meeting. It's about everything that happens before, during, and after. Automations and AI fill gaps and ensure that no client or prospect ever feels ignored. Now, I want to kind of stick on this as we go through. It fills gaps. AI and automation, it does not replace a person. And we're going to go through why that is. Because think about it. How often has the client reached out and you realized they went unheard for hours or even days or weeks or months? How many potential clients slip away because no one got back to them fast enough? Clients often reach out in a really sensitive or emotional point in their life. If they aren't acknowledged immediately, trust begins to erode, and they can easily move on to another lawyer and talk to other people that your firm doesn't communicate. And that causes more damage than anything. So, even automated emails that promise, thanks for reaching out, we'll reach out to you in one business day, can backfire if not followed through. One missed promise can cost thousands in lost revenue and really, really bad negative reviews that just spread. Now, I also want to reiterate, if they're first reaching out and you have an automated message that said we'll reach out in one business day, I think that's a little bit long of a time frame. I think you should have a goal of 1, 2, 3 hours at most, that you can reach back out to them. But the automated message should send that expectation. Automation solves this problem. Simple things like automated text, reminders, and follow up sequences keep clients informed. It's not about replacing humans. It's about making sure no conversation drops and that every client feels valued. So ask yourself, where in your process could a prospect slip through the cracks for even a few hours? You have to handle prospects with kid gloves, and you have to handhold them through that process to make sure their questions are answered and that they feel engaged and that you can really help them. And that's where AI and automation can really step in and guide that process through communication and nudges to you. So imagine a prospect fills out an intake form but hasn't responded to follow ups. With Lawmatics AI, you can draft personalized emails that acknowledge the delay and invite them to reconnect. This keeps communication timely, relevant, and personal. If your current system leaves gaps like this, again, schedule a discovery with us. We can help you get these systems in place. And you don't have to just reinvent the wheel. And that's what we find a lot of firms spend a lot of time on, is reinventing the wheel to be creative in how they do things. And it's not necessarily about how creative you can be. It's about how consistent and how direct you can be in your communication to ensure that the conversation never drops. So now let's talk about immediate response and preventing prospect loss. And we've touched on it. So a prospect finds your firm on your website, emails you requesting information to move forward. How fast does your firm respond? Think about that in your head. With Lawmatics automation and AI, you can immediately send a personalized template response that acknowledges their inquiry, provides helpful next steps. You never want to let somebody just sit there hanging. You always want to give next steps and invite them to schedule a consultation, or a workshop, or take the next action, that whatever that might be in your firm. This ensures that communication is, number one, timely, two, relevant, and number three, personal. So the prospect feels valued, seen, and confident in your firm from the very first touch. This is getting back to why you do what you do. Are you doing it because you want to help the client? You want them to feel valued and that you can help them? Or are you just sitting in that seat for a paycheck? Everybody's sitting there for a paycheck, so we can check that off. But is it also followed by a real love for helping people? This can help you go back to why you do what you do. Because you can also set up follow-up emails that triggers if your team hasn't responded within a promised time frame. It can politely acknowledge to the prospective client the delay and reassure the prospect that you haven't forgotten them. That's letting the conversation continue. And at the same time, the alert can notify someone in your office so the inquiry doesn't slip through the cracks, ensuring accountability and consistency in the client experience and finding breaks in the processes that aren't working. When you let things fall through the cracks, we've seen people that have 500,000 to $1 million that fell through the cracks of just prospects that were never touched. That is substantial money on the table. With automation and AI, tools like Lawmatics automations, they can quote analyze inquiries based on criteria and suggest the next best action that you have programmed for it to do. A personalized email, a consultation scheduling, a newsletter, or notifying a team member to call immediately. This proactive approach ensures prospects feel seen and cared for. Yes, they know it's automated in many of these situations, and I want to address this very clearly. At this point, most people don't care. When you schedule with your doctor and you get those reminders, I know somebody is not sitting there typing those. And I wouldn't expect them to, because then I know my doctor rates are going to go through the roof paying somebody to do that. They know they are, but they also understand that you're holding their hand through the process and you took the time to set this up to guide them through it. So there is a difference. There are emails that you need to type manually. You need to really think about what you need to say. That isn't gone. This is getting people through a process in a cared for manner that shows you can help them and you're not leaving them without a next step. So if you think about this, are there moments where a small delay could cost a new client? Have you seen that? You waited a day and when you call them, they've already called another attorney. And then take it a step further. Some people, they qualify their leads by high value or not. And I'm going to say in a manual system, absolutely, you should look at it that way. If you are in an automated system, it shouldn't matter if the inquiries are high value or not. Everyone should get the same amazing client experience, no matter the value of their inquiry, without added burden to the firm. And if this seems, again, overwhelming, just remember a discovery meeting with us can help you implement these solutions. It's what we specialize in. And just as I'm telling you, get back to the love of why you do what you do. This is why we do what we do, because we crave to see law firms succeed and their client experiences to just explode through the roof and you become the number one law firm in your area because people can't stop talking because it was so easy to go through the process in what could be very complicated legal matters. Let's go into another way that AI and automation can help the client conversation. This is re-engaging old prospective clients. And we had touched on this. Prospects fell through the cracks. They were never touched. You have 3,000 prospects that had called in the last 3 years, and 90% of them were never reached out to. Well, there's a way to address this. Old leads are often a gold mine if approached thoughtfully. I'm not telling you to create this gold mine. Follow up with your leads. Don't let them slip. But leads that have either slipped or they just quit responding to you. These are the gold mine if approached correctly. Many firms have approached from months or years ago who never converted. Automations and AI allows you to scale outreach in a personal, meaningful way. You know how if you look up a blue shoe on Amazon, you start getting ads for that? And you see every blue shoe in the world pop up on your social media accounts? You can use that concept in reaching out to old leads. I am not saying to market them like crazy and harass them because some of those ads feel harassing. I'm saying to reach out in thoughtful and meaningful ways. Segment old leads by inquiry type, last contact, maybe a stage in the process. Use Lawmatics or AI to craft messages that acknowledge the time that has passed and provide relevant value. For example, a previous estate planning inquiry initial contact who didn't schedule into a workshop or a consultation could receive a note about new law changes that might affect them and include a way to schedule into a workshop or consultation. Those are things that you can reach out in a targeted and meaningful way. So, how many old leads in your database could be re engaged with just a thoughtful or personalized message? For law firms thinking about implementing automations and AI, combining AI with targeted human follow ups creates a balance between efficiency and personal connection. You can create scalable systems that make old or forgotten leads feel remembered and not automated. If this, again, if it's something that you want in your firm, but it's too overwhelming, just let us know. I just want to let you really have that information that you can reach out to us, schedule that discovery, and we can help you and help you identify where things are slipping through the cracks for you. If you just don't know how to do that, we're here for you. Now, I want to, of course, address this. We can't talk about AI and automation with client conversations without talking about common mistakes that you really should avoid when you're doing this. Even with the best tools, mistakes happen when the human element is neglected. And I want to say that again because it's really, really vital to this entire process. Even with the best tools, mistakes happen when the human element is neglected. So, how is that true? The first one, over reliance on automation. AI generated emails are powerful, but sending them without review can feel generic or off brand and actually send very wrong information and the wrong message. Now, I want to clarify this. Template messages you can set up in a very, very structured manner. You can have things where in a workshop or a consultation, they list 3 things that keep them awake at night. Those are their pain points. You can list those in the database, and then you can have that in a message that said, you said these 3 things kept you awake at night, and we can help you with that. And it addresses it. You've added the human element, but you're letting automation or AI take care of delivering it. So if you're doing strictly AI generated emails, you absolutely need to be reviewing those. Do not just copy and send through with Copilot or Gemini or ChatGPT or even Lawmatics AI that they have available in their email writer. Never, never, never remove the human element. The next one is ignoring promised response times. If you don't follow through on what you promised, you undermine trust every single time. So keep that in mind when you're setting timeframes. And that doesn't mean give yourself an extra 3 days grace period to ensure that you honor that. You can't do that either. You have to have a process that lets you do this in an extremely timely manner to reach the client. So don't say, oh, let's just change it to 5 days. We can meet that. No, set 3 hours and then a way to meet that. Another one is neglecting personalization. AI and all of those, they can draft messages, but if you skip client specific details, outreach feels robotic. There are ways to automate this, but it takes human intervention to make this actually happen. And when I say client specific details, things that really feel more special to a client is when you're right. Let's say we're going to do a template for a new prospective client. You can say an email that says, thank you so much for reaching out and we'll get back to you. Or you can have a template that fills in personalized information. John, thank you so much for reaching out. I see you saw us on Facebook. We have so much great information on there. You might want to check out this one post that really fits, what you're selecting. And it could be based off a selection they have that could direct to a proper email. Just adding little elements of personalization are enough to take that AI edge off of it. And then the last one And I think this is arguably one of the most important parts. Um, no accountability system. This absolutely ties into system audits, process audits, and this is going to be a subcategory of that. And Beth, I'm going to let you talk about this for a second because this is really where um, we see things that fall through even a good process. So no accountability system. Automation works best when there's oversight. Workflows fail if no one acts on recommendations. Can you speak to that for a minute?
Yeah, so auditing and auditing systems and all that is all very important. And the one thing that stands out it, in a lot of firms is the lack of, and I don't really know kind of the word I'm looking for here, but the lack of insight, I guess, is what they have on what's actually going on in their firm. A lot of times, you'll add a report in there and the report will show all of this stuff, and they're like, well, that's not right. Well, actually, it is. I mean, that is the data. So reporting and being able to use reporting for auditing is so important. Um, you should be able to easily say, this is how many initial contacts we had this week. This is how many of those were qualified. And here's where they went, and here's what we did with them. And being able to go back and look at that over time and say, okay, we don't have, 1,500 people sitting in intake that we didn't follow up with. Um, and really being able to audit your process and be able to say, look, I can identify this issue. What are we going to do about that to fix that? And that is so important in there. And the way to do that is really through reporting and also using your internal information. You know, put up a whiteboard or a community board or a paper note board on the wall in your room that you can jot down every time something fell through the cracks, like every time. Oh, this person called and we hadn't gotten back to her. How did that fall through the cracks? Identify it, mark down who it was, when it was, and then you can go and look into it. And if you can't go and look into it and you can't figure it out, maybe somebody else can. So you can look into it and improve that process so that doesn't happen. But those are all very important things to come into the auditing process and reporting process
And
that
what
can
do you
make it
think
work
about an
better.
accountability system, Beth? So that's your weekly overview that you should be having at your stakeholders meeting every week.
Mhm.
Um, and then just a more dialed in accountability system of if things aren't being done in a promised time, that there are triggers in there that's going to notify somebody else that this keeps happening in real time.
Yeah, so you can absolutely do that. And we built these into some where you will have a task that goes out to somebody or a form that'll go out to somebody to fill out. So we'll do this with attorneys that have a form they need to fill out after a consultation. Those will get me emailed to those attorneys. They get it the day of the consultation, they'll fill it out, waits 24 hours, sends it to them again. They don't fill it out. Okay. So the next time it gets emailed to a office manager or something, someone who is going to be checking on that and says, "Hey, this isn't filled out. This is stuck. Like this matter isn't moving on because they haven't done this." And that is important with stuff like that. And I know I pick on attorneys a lot with that, but
Yeah.
that is kind of where things do fall through the cracks sometimes is that stuff doesn't get communicated back and forth. Those things don't get filled out. Things don't happen with that matter. They're still sitting on the consultation stage because he didn't tell anybody that you needed to get them an engagement agreement, or you needed to follow up with them, or anything. Like nothing, it just sat there. So you don't want that to happen. So there's ways to actually pull that accountability right into where you're at And then the overall accountability is being able to see that reporting and say, hey, there is, 5 people sitting on the consultation stage. Their consultations have already happened. Why haven't they been moved on? Oh, the attorney never filled out those
Yeah.
forms. So yeah, both of those need to play together, but it is really important to pull that down as close to real time as possible. And that can be done, but it does take a human to manage that, because it can't do it all for you.
And I love that you just said that. So in the client conversations, and with these human interventions, AI and automations reinforce trust only when paired with human processes. You neglect
Right.
them and it causes harm. I'm
Yep,
not talking like a
exactly.
knife to the heart, but
Yeah,
sometimes losing a lot of money can feel like that.
right, exactly.
All right, so let's buzz through these last sections because I do want to give you an immediate actionable item um, that you can take away today, and you can say, I'm going to put the microscope on this right now, and I'm going to think about this today. I'm going to talk to my team about it and see how we can instantly fix this. This is to acknowledge every new inquiry or initial contact. It's a pain point that every law firm knows. Prospective clients reach out and sometimes don't hear back fast enough. That first delay makes them feel overlooked and could push them to another lawyer. You call the next day because you waited 24 hours and they're like, oh, sorry, I already got somebody else. They responded faster. You have to be quick to the draw. So, I want to give you some instant gratification and an actionable item that you can address today. And this is one you can do right now. Set up an automatic acknowledgement for every new inquiry. It can be a simple text or email. Thanks for reaching out. We received your message, and someone for our team will contact you within X minutes or hours. Yes, I did say minutes because there are firms now that are have like a 15-minute rule, and they're hitting it because of using AI and automations. And then make sure every inquiry gets this, no exceptions. Maybe it's your contact us on your website. Maybe it's your social media posts, or they're reaching out through social media, anything like that. Make a list of how people contact you and figure out a way to give the client instant gratification that you have acknowledged that they reached out and it has a next step for them of what they can expect a call from you. They need to call them, whatever it may be. If you nail that, you're going to change the entire feel of what comes next in the intake process. That small action ensures no prospect feels ignored, immediately improves client experience, keeps the conversation alive. So now that you have one concrete action to put into practice immediately, and I'm not saying it's easy, I'm giving you a microscope for one section to look at. It may involve talking to your web developer. It may involve talking to us and seeing how we can plug something in to send a quick text every time somebody reaches out. It may involve some steps, but I want you to be laser focused just on that right now because the first step is not to lose somebody when they first call you. If you can master that, the rest is going to start falling into place. So let's zoom out for a moment and focus on the bigger picture. I want to highlight now the 5 key insights from today's session. These are just ideas that can really reshape how your firm approaches client conversations and helps your team feel more in control. And it's funny because at the beginning of this open coaching, before we started recording, we were talking about, oh my gosh, I need to do this. I need to do this. Oh, I got to reach out to this person. I'm going to jot a little note. That's not in control. And I am guilty of it. Yes, I get we need to just have little reminders. But if it's consistent, how can you automate that? You want to feel in control and the boss of your role. And through this process, even reignite the passion for why you do this work in the first place. If you're not reading the Monday motivation emails that I'm sending out, I encourage you to start doing it. We have a great one coming out on Monday and really take them to heart. It's more the emotion side of sitting in your chair every day. But I feel it puts us in a grounded position to get ready for the week. And that's what this can do is reignite a passion for why you do what you do. So the key takeaways. Number one, client experience is everything. Every decision, tool, or workflow you implement should improve how a client feels. Efficiency is only valuable if it enhances their experience. Timely acknowledgement is non negotiable. Those first minutes after a client reaches out are critical. You can start blinking the red and blue lights because those are the moments that are going to make or break if that client is going to stick around and talk to you to see if you can help them. Automated acknowledgments and follow-ups protect trust and prevent lost opportunities. Automation and AI are your allies, they are not replacements. These tools are meant to enhance your team's roles, fill gaps, and keep every conversation alive so that you can focus on the high touch moments that matter the most. Old leads are not lost leads. Thoughtful AI assisted outreach, um, I'm sorry, with automations, things like that, and drip campaigns can reignite relationships that were once on hold. Scaling personalization is possible without overwhelming your team. And then number five, process and accountability build confidence. Clear workflows, oversight, and consistent execution frees your team from chaos, reduces stress, and lets you focus on why you do this work, helping clients and serving your community. If that is not your baseline, then I think you need to have a firm retreat, take a day, and regroup as a firm to say, where are we missing the mark? Where did we get lost? Clients know when you're not passionate about helping clients. So remember, if you're feeling like your firm could use a hand implementing automations and AI in your client conversations, not to replace your team, but to enhance your role and just make every client feel cared for, we're here to help. Schedule that free discovery meeting. The link is in the chat. We'll walk you through practical steps tailored to your firm so you can take what we talked about today to put it into action. Your clients, your team, and your firm will all feel the difference through empowerment and success. That's kind of what I have. Do you have any recap or additions, Beth?
Yeah, a couple things. There's we talk about qualified and non-qualified leads and where that goes. And some people, they're like, I don't even want a non-qualified lead. Like, I don't even want to bother with that. I want to filter that out in the very beginning. And I understand that. You're losing data when you do that, because you're not grabbing and saying, well, this person was interested but are not qualified. So you are losing that information if you're not getting them into your system and then not qualifying them. However, to do that, there's sometimes they get too far in your system, and then they are slipping through the cracks. And that is a different kind because those are the ones you don't want in there. But it is very easy to actually take that through and have that conversation with them, whether that's through automation, AI, or whatever, but you're having that and they feel heard and they feel whatever. And yeah, we're not a good fit because that is important for many things. For one, you're tracking. For another, even if they are not a fit to you, their experience and how that made them feel is very important because then you have that in your head, in their head. You're in their head of how if somebody needs something, oh, here's somebody I had contact with. And it's more than just a sorry, we can't help you. So those things are important. Don't let those opportunities slip away. And the other one is please, everyone, make a list of every way that someone can contact you. Um, it is amazing to me, the number of firms that really don't know that. You have web forms out there, you have forms out on social media, you have, they can call you, they can email you. Like, uh, that's all important, and you really should make a list of that and keep that list updated and going because um, then when somebody pops in and says, "Hey, here's this person, where did they come from? Why didn't they come through one of our channels? And how can we address that?" Because that's where a lot of stuff starts to fall through the cracks as well. So just some points on that. On that.
I love
Yeah.
that. And that goes into your quick actionable, I'm going to call it homework for right now is laser focus in on how people are reaching out to you so that you can then tag on an instant response to the client with expectations and next steps. Something you don't have to do manually. And if you need help doing that, schedule a discovery meeting with us and we can help
Yeah.
guide you through that. Okay. So
Yeah.
before I hit stop recording, I want to let you know, and don't hang up, stay around because we're going to have open Q&A now. But next week, we have an amazing, amazing expert guest speaker. Um, and she works um, in the mental health field, I guess I would say. um, she's a
Yeah.
psychiatrist, and she is going to talk about making stress your superpower. We are a tech company. We understand we are a tech company. We also understand there's a human that's behind this, and
Mhm.
that needs to be supported as well. So we want to offer those types of things. So you want to be here next week, make stress your superpower. And she's going to take at it from just really common sense approach um, in a medical type discussion of what it really affects with the brain and all of that. It's awesome. I'm super excited for this. So mark your calendar, put it on. Don't allow an appointment during this time next week. Be here and really, really start focusing on your mental health as well. Because if that breaks, you're done. I mean, it's hard to recover from that. So, all right, I'm going to hit stop recording, and we are going to go into open Q&A.